Mr. Nkosi Duncan Mthembu likes to describe himself as a God-fearing man, a political scholar, and an activist against inequality. He is current provincial chairperson of DA Youth in Gauteng, and he currently occupies the position of Caucus Chief Whip in Emfuleni Local Municipality City Council. In terms of his education background, he holds a public management degree and an honors degree in political science. He received a certificate from Sweden for international human rights law, has an N4 qualification in business management, and finally, he is completing his master's degree in political science. Hello, Duncan, and good to have you with us at Empire Partner Foundation Studio. This is where we keep our eyes on social challenges. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you for having me, Emil. I hope that it's going to be a great interview, and we hope that it will impact lives.
Definitely. I must say you have a list of achievements with all your education, your background, and your political background as well. But outside of the temptation to be, sensational and just being inclined to be apolitical, we're all aware of the social ills and challenges facing the South African youth. Is it appropriate, the question around unemployment, what do you think can be done in the immediate, medium, and long term to solve this challenge?
Well, I think when we speak about the social ills, we cannot separate them from the space of politics, the space of the economy. And I think more than anything, we need political will that will then address the social ills. What do I mean by this? We need a government that will be more deliberate in addressing the issues that we are faced with, especially when it comes to young people. We need a government that is comprising of young people within the systems. We need a government that is not only comprising of these young people as spectators to the policy change, but as part of making sure that there's innovative ideas, there's creativity in ensuring that young people get access. And when I speak about access, I believe that I will dwell into it later on, but access to everything that we might be in need of as young people. Because we cannot do it without the government. Whether we like it or not, the government must be there to create that enabling environment so that the social ills may be addressed, because there's quite a lot of them. And for us to just say that the most important one is this one and this one is less important, will not be doing justice to making sure that we change the conditions of our country.
So you're saying that we need government in order to help the youth. Do you also think that private businesses can also help the youth by creating more jobs for them?
No, absolutely, my brother. Remember, the government does not have the capacity to employ, but it's the private sector that has got that capacity to actually employ. But private sector cannot strive if the government is not creating that opportunity or enabling environment for it to strive. So at this point, as a country, we are in a space where the government that we have is not in touch with actually where the economy of this country should go. We are still using the methods of the 70s, of the 50s, and the 60s to try to address the issue of the economy. But we are failing to neglect the fact that times have changed. We are in a different space. We've got a new generation of young people who want to do things themselves, but in a creative aspect of things, who are innovative. And as such, we get programs or departments such as NYDA, which are short-legged because they cannot actually achieve this mission that it's supposed to do, in making sure that it enables business, enables young people to be the best version of themselves. So definitely agree with you that private sector is in the forefront, but government must play a huge role to make sure that private sector thrives.
So to sum all that up to audience stuff, so in other words, you're saying that the government and private sector must help each other in order to help with the youth unemployment rates. Am I correct in saying so?
Definitely.
And talking about... sorry, you were saying?
No, I'm saying that it's just like that, because the government must be in the forefront of ensuring that the business thrives. And without the government being on the forefront, the business cannot thrive. Business pulls away. So that's the best option that we can go on.
And talking about unemployment, it is a social challenge within South Africa, but what social challenge is actually dearest to you, and what experience have you led to feel passionate about the issue?
Well, I think I can be confident to say that I'm one of the generation of fees must fall. So I'll be more passionate about access to education, you know. And I feel like as much as we want to speak about any other thing as the social ills, but for me this one speaks volumes. Access to basic education that speaks to the current economy of our country and to the global economy, it's a way to go. Access to those who grew up in poverty, access to those who are in the middle space, middle class, but still fail to get access to maybe a university, and most importantly, access to understanding exactly as a country where we are going. What do I mean by this? We need to start to create industries that speaks to the future that we want to build.
Duncan, just to ask you a question. So the whole fees must fall thing is in line with education. The one thing I want to know is, do you think it's possible for a third world country like South Africa itself to actually obtain free education for high education standards or for all-around education?
Well, you just need to come up with different layers. You cannot use one blanket approach to solve this problem. South Africa is heading from an unjust past, apartheid, and as a result, a lot of people are still left behind in terms of being able to afford even a simple meal. I'll just make an example. For the 67 minutes rather of Mandela, 18, we went to a place in Extension 21 there in Freyelach.
Yes.
Where 100 people became homeless because of the fire that started to destroy that particular building. But let me tell you something about that particular building. It accommodated 109 people, but that was not a good living condition for our people. So we take a small boy who grew up in that particular space. We want to put that boy at school, whether tertiary education or they are in no way to afford. But another thing, there is now a child of a teacher, there is a child of a policeman who cannot afford the fees as they are, but they need a certain amount of subsidy to ensure that there is access. So,
but Duncan,
to say that the poor.
Sorry to interrupt you there. I just want to know, but is it still right to blame apartheid, for what's happening in South Africa now, and not blame the government at hand? Or would you have to blame both?
No, I think you've covered me. You'll have to blame both. Apartheid plays a huge role in where we are. But two, the government is not doing what it's supposed to do to address the problems that we are facing. And to be quite honest and frankly, we can't expect that the government that we have since 94 should have been able to solve every problem that we have. But we also feel that they did not rise to the expectation. They are not in touch with reality. They should have done a bit much more than what they are currently doing. But apartheid still plays a huge role in the conditions of our people today. So I think we need to be also real with ourselves and realistic with ourselves to say that the damage and the harm that was caused by apartheid is too much to be fixed in 28 years now or so. But two, the methods and the ways in which have been put in place to address these challenges are not sufficient. So we need to start to think of modern ways and come up with serious interventions, and there must be that political will that I was speaking about.
According to the COGTA district profile in Citybang, the region that has the lowest undergraduate qualifications in the country, only 4% of the people in that region having such qualifications. Why do you think this is the case, and is this issue an appropriate issue for yourself and the municipal council, and how do you see the issue getting addressed? Because that Citybang has always been like that. Even you look at people like Soweto or Yurkai, it's always been in that area. So what would your solutions be for that?
I think I've spoken about this, and maybe I'll sound like I'm more concentrated on a specific.
Yes.
But more than anything, if you can try to analyze how our country used to function, the VAR was known for its steel capacity as an industrial space, and the qualification thereof of people that are living in Citybang needed to be aligned with that. You still have your companies like ArcelorMittal, Gate. They're not sufficient enough. And the reason why we are finding ourselves in such spaces where young people do not have sufficient qualifications is that once they leave school, all they want to do is to provide for their families. There is no much intervention from us as the council, in particular, to ensure that we liaise with the technicals that are available around us, like UT, Northwest University, and try to shape our young people to show them that, yes, it is important for you to go and work for your family, but you also need to enhance yourself and need to arm yourself with a basic education and necessary education to make sure that your career grows. More than anything, I think we can do more. We can go into the spaces. We can educate our young people. We can start to reshape the economy of City Day. Because once you start to have an idea of where you want to take City Day, then you've got an idea of what kind of young people you'll then want in the region. You'll have an idea of what you want young people to best focus in. So I think the concept is there, not taking away the issues of other industries like radio, communication in time. It's also important, but we also need to make sure and teach them that there is more to communication and there is more to these industries than what they see that is in front of them.
So with that being said, are you saying, or do you think actually that government should focus more on those areas, undeveloped areas, and put more of the resources in there?
Remember, the job of the government is to focus on all its people. Because we might be making a big mistake to say that the government must focus on these areas. But remember, when you neglect these areas and you focus on this, you are creating a pattern for the future where these neglected areas will then be the problems of the future. So what we need to do is that we address the issues as per the geographic space and the dynamics that present itself on the ground. We cover all bases. Remember that, and also be aware, it won't be the same mechanism or the same effort that we put in place. So applies to the fund, but we need to try by all means to cover all space as government.
Okay. I see where you're coming from. I understand that a bit more, like focus, not only one, focus on many other, the whole country at once. But I will say the one thing, as I guess, you are a city councillor and currently DA chief whip in the Emfuleni Municipal Council. What is your greatest failure and how did you overcome it and what did you learn from it?
I think this one is a bit more personal, and I'll touch on it, not on aspects of what I didn't do for our people, but I'll just speak in terms of my biggest failure or weakness. Let me just say a weakness. It was to find myself in a space whereby I was too emotional to address issues. Because when you are dealing with issues of governance and you did an oversight the previous day and you found a child that was thrown in an illegal dumping space, because that's what you come across. And you go into council and you find people that are not willing and who are like, they are not living in these communities. And you are trying to show them this is how we actually need to channel our institution, and they are failing to see the bigger picture and they see the line. You become emotional because you feel that they are not in touch with the reality of our people. But two, I feel like as a leader, I have not done enough. I have not done enough to make sure that the issues of young people are presented at the forefront, because us as the young leaders, we've got the responsibility to channel the policies of the institutions to the direction that we want to. We shout and we say that, no, we want to sit at the table. If not, we want to own the entire table. But I feel that we've not done enough. Personally, I have not done enough to bring more young people to ensure that we change the situation in the city council and in the communities entirely. So that's why each and every day I wake up and I strive to do better.
Okay, that makes sense. So I guess what you said your biggest failure was you being emotionally drained in a way, right?
No, you become emotional.
Emotional, yes.
Yeah, you just become emotional, not emotionally drained, but you become emotional because you're trying to raise facts, you're trying to raise issues which are genuine, you're trying to come up with solutions, but because you are not in government, it becomes difficult for those solutions to be implemented. And people want to run the institution as the way that they used to run it 10 years ago. And this also speaks to what we were speaking about earlier on, to say, shouldn't we blame the current government government of the day for uh, for lack of progress and so forth. And indeed, you need to, because when young people are coming up with serious ideas, the old guards stand there because they are in numbers and they shoot the idea down. So that's why we are saying that as young people, I personally have said to bring more young people so that when the idea is on the podium, on the platform, we are able to advocate for it in numbers and support the idea.
Okay. Now, one of the responsibilities of being in council is to facilitate community input. Now, withstanding that statement, but putting focus on the youth as well, which mechanism do you apply to ensure that the youth of City Bank region give their opportunity, their input when it comes to municipal matters within the region?
Now, basically, what we do, and this is an approach that I also exercise in the entire province, because I think you are also aware that I'm the provincial chairperson of the youth. We go and have public meetings, and this is the important one. This is the most important aspect. In the public meetings, we clearly outline position and the status in which our cities across Gauteng are in, and what is it that we can do as young people. But also in that particular space, in the public meetings, it's where we also get our ideas. It's where we get our frustrations from our people to say that, no, this is what we want to achieve. This is what you guys should be doing, and so forth and so forth. Two, we use a method called petitions, where if there's anything that they would like to address, or anything that they feel that it's not being done in accordance, we use that particular method of petitions. Really, the most important one, we use the virtual platforms, whether on Twitter, whether on Facebook, where we are coming up with topics, exactly what, more or less of what you are doing, which is, I would like to applaud you guys. You are doing a great job.
Thank you.
To ensure that there's some change. So we use these spaces where people can then bounce off their ideas, and we take these ideas, we present them, we turn them into what they want it to be. The latest one that we are embarking on is to scrap NYDA, because young people are complaining. They are saying that, no, where is this NYDA assisting people? Because I don't know anyone in the immediate that has been assisted. And it can be correct that you go across all 5 regions and people are claiming the same thing, so that unless if you are politically connected, then NYDA will assist you. So those are the issues that we are currently dealing with, in the form of media, in the form of face-to-face engagement, public meetings, petitions, and so forth.
Okay, so the NYDA has actually made changes in certain areas, right? If I'm correct in hearing so.
No. Remember what we spoke about. Anything that you create. Let me just give you an example with a house. A house that was not properly built and skewed, but can still block the wind and can still block the sun from entering inside. It's still a house. It's still the shelter. But the issue is, it's not up to good condition. And you cannot do everything in that particular house because you know the challenges of this particular house. So the best thing that you need to do is to do away with this house and start to build a new house which will be more accommodative to the wind, to weather the sun that we are speaking about, to heavy rains and everything else. So there are people who might say NYDA benefited them. But in the broader scale, majority of the people feel that NYDA has not benefited them because they are not politically connected. And that is where we should challenge, because our duty is to ensure that all South Africans benefit from all the government institutions which are available.
So using the house as an example, you said like if it's a skew house, it will still block the wind, you still have shelter, but for a house to be strong, don't you need a strong foundation? So what is that strong foundation in the NYDA?
The strong foundation is an institution that focuses on what our young people present. It's not an institution where there is board meetings and maybe, I know that this for a fact. At most, they've got 2 board meetings a year, and each person gets 500,000 for that. So
Oh, okay.
it cannot be it cannot be correct because that's quite a huge amount of money,
It is,
which can be
yes.
directed, which can be directed to ensuring that there is progress. The NYDA spaces, where are they? You understand? Unless if, let's say, let's make an example. There's a place that is called Dagestan. It's on your way to Kagiso. That place, my brother, is full of informal settlements. And that's where spaces like NYDA should be situated.
Oh, okay.
Because they need to ensure that our people who have lost hope and our people who do not see any advancement needs to be there. Two, the platform that we are using now. What is NYDA doing with such good spaces where the country is taking a modern approach and the world is taking a modern approach of using on digitalization and ICT? So you need to ask this question. You need to ask how many studios are there, how many radio stations are there, how many artists are being assisted by this spaces by NYDA. There are other issues that our young people are doing. There are other businesses that our young people are doing. There's a lady that I once saw that is currently manufacturing her own shoes. And the question is that is the government assisting her? This is the lady from the valley. Is the government assisting her? Is NYDA setting up the place to be sure that this particular lady does not fail? So those are the kind of questions that we need to ask. Those are the kind of issues that we need to be deliberate when we are pressed.
I guess my final question for this interview is: so as you know, at EPF we're a tech hub. We do everything tech. We try to benefit South Africa through tech, right? And our mantra is solving socio-economic challenges using tech and technological solutions. Now, the fourth industrial revolution is upon us, or some would say we're living in it right now. In the line of this trail of thought, what steps are you taking to ensure that Citibank region is on the path to embrace the fourth industrial revolution and its innovation?
You were breaking, so I did not catch
That's good.
the last part.
So I'll just repeat the whole question. So as you know, the foundation, the Empire Partner Foundation, is a tech hub. We like solving issues with tech. As our mantra states, we're solving socioeconomic challenges using technology and technological solutions. Now, the fourth industrial revolution, as you know, is some people think we're closing near it. Some people think we're in it right now, and it's in our everyday life. Now, in line with that trail of thought, what steps are you taking to ensure that Citibank region is on the path to embrace the fourth industrial revolution and its innovation?
And the question in this case is asking me as a councillor or as an individual?
Let's say both, as a council and as an individual. Make it more interesting.
No. As an individual, I think I'm also, we can be all young, but there are those who are a bit sidetracked in terms of technology and who are left a bit behind, unlike yourself. So, but what we have started doing from our side as young people, we have been speaking and connecting with young people across Gauteng and to share with them the angle of the green energy. And I think green energy speaks to various things, where we also spoke about the relationship between ESCOM and its people. It speaks to a lot of things. We say that what innovative ideas can we bring to the table to ensure that we create independent power producers, to ensure that the economy of the townships is still intact. So we are busy rolling out that particular program to see in terms of what other options and opportunities can be unlocked through green energy. But the third thing is, and I'll be honest with you, it's difficult to roll out these programs without any form of funds. It's difficult for you to get tech solutions in communities where they are not technologically advanced without tech inputs and assistance. So, and I'm glad that you are asking this question, because you as an institution, you are using tech to solve solutions. So I would like to invite you to Sebukeng so that we can meet these young people and we can come up with and maybe educate them with a thing or two. Because our job as those who are working in government, more than anything, is to be that linkage between the private sector as well as our people, to be the linkage between our people as well as the public institutions. So we can, or the best we can do is to try to make sure that we educate them about the spaces. So, but like I'm saying, we have started with the initiative of the green energy in Shibugeng areas where we are teaching young people to say that no, the economy cannot remain the same. So how do we best make sure that we find ourselves in these spaces, especially for the future prospects of this country? So it's an open invitation. I'll just wait for your for your commitment to say when can you come and give out your services to educate our fellow young people in Shibugeng.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, the whole, giving training, but as someone in the councilship, part, and also working with the government, do you not think it's government's responsibility to give these areas the IT training, like basic computer skills, so order to get the 4IR in those areas on the move? Or do you think that the government should look at private sectors to do that instead?
No. It's a joint effort. Remember, we spoke about unemployment earlier on.
Yes.
And when we were speaking about unemployment earlier on, we said that it needs to be a private and a public sector initiative. So the same applies to everything. Because as government, we cannot do it on our own. I think if you can go through the financial reports of especially CDB and Emfuleni, you will see that the municipality is running at a loss, for an example.
Yeah.
We are saying that they've passed unfunded budget, which we don't even know how they'll be able to finish the financial year. This is purely to show that there's no enough funds to roll out these things. But we spoke about innovative and creative ideas. And part of those innovative and creative ideas is to rope in private sector alongside the government to show them that this is how we can assist. This is what we can. And private sector also must say, no. Government, we hear your issue, but us as a private sector, we strive on business. So you don't have money, but you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 to offer us. So therefore, release this 1, 2, 3, and 4 so that we can help the people, so that we can change the conditions. So if we are going to find solutions to anything, we need to definitely speak to private sector, and government must also take charge of whichever space that they're in.
Well, Duncan, I'm afraid that we're out of time, but I would actually like to invite you again to the studio, whether you can come in person or do the virtual interview again, to talk more about government and all this other stuff. Because I'm enjoying this conversation a lot, and I would really like to invite you again.
No, thank you so much, Emil. My door is always open, and I'll send my invoice, which is 0 rand. I don't charge anything to the society.
Perfect. At least you're not corrupt like some people in government. Well, thank you so much, Duncan, for coming on. Thank you for coming to EPF, thank you for coming to EPF Studio, where we keep our eyes on social challenges, and I'm really glad to talk to you again.
No, I'm definitely going to do my oversight. I'll ask for the address and set a proper meeting, come with my team so that you can see the kind of work that you are doing, and try to write to legislature or whichever form of assistance that we can give, and whichever assistance that you guys can give us to making sure that we change the situation.